Love you. Bye. Sorry. Everybody in my house is sick, so everybody's checking in all the time. Welcome to the channel. This is Curtis Podcast Network, and this is this AFC South show 138, Week 18 reactions coming live at you. We're going to be talking Titans, Jags, Texans, Colts, and kind of get into everything that's been going on Black Friday. The Black Friday for coaching, which is, I guess, Black Monday and Tuesday. But so a lot to get into. Let's lead off with probably the two most disappointing teams in the division this season, the Jags and the Titans. So who wants to dive on those grenades first?
Well, losers go first.
Sure.
I don't get to say that often, so.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the under 500 record. My bad.
Hey, we're both in the playoffs this week.
Yeah, no, it was just a terrible performance. Just again, Jacksonville falls short in a game where we really were poised to. We were really in a position to win. And clearly the Titans just came out ready to play more than we did. Derrick Henry had a great game for his, what looks like his final game as a Titan. Kind of one of the things too is we fired basically our entire defensive staff. The only ones we retained were like an assistant D-line coach, our outside linebackers coach, and like a defensive football operations assistant or something like that. I don't remember, but clean house on that side. I'm glad we retained the outside linebackers coach though. He really had Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker going crazy this season, so that was nice to see. But yeah, just with this game specifically, we just were never in sync. And when you have a guy like Trevor Lawrence, and I like Trevor Lawrence, but you can't always defend the guy when he makes dumb decisions. The goal line play at the end of the game, the 4th and 1, it was a bad spot by the refs, but you got to be aware of that when you're going for it. You can't try to go from a yard and a half and dive in, especially with as big of a D line as the Titans have, and they stacked the line. He called his own number. He got stopped. That was the game right there. There was no chance of winning it after that. It's funny too because of course everybody's blaming Press Taylor and all the play calling. Press Taylor is Doug Peterson, and Doug Peterson is Press Taylor. It's got the same scheme. They would have done the exact same thing. Press Taylor actually called a power right, and the hole was literally 10 to 12 feet wide. And Tank Bigsby would have walked in for a touchdown, and Trevor Lawrence called his own number and fucked us. So, it's just one of those things where, people are freaking out saying we should trade him, thinking he's not the guy. I definitely think that Trevor Lawrence is the guy. I just think that he's not without blame in this whole situation. But, it's just opened a lot of eyes to see that, maybe this team wasn't ready like we thought it was. And our offensive line is terrible. Anton Harrison is the lone bright spot on our offensive line, the rookie. To say he was the best offensive lineman, at least the most promising, and he gave up, 6 or 7 sacks. That says a lot. He played well for the most part. He went up against some of the best edge rushers in the league. But yeah, we just no push from the interior. Luke Fortner ended up 4 yards back with no Jeff Simmons in the game on that, in a one-on-one on that goal line play. Luke Fortner is terrible. If he's on the field next year, he better be at least 30 to 40 pounds heavier, and it better all be muscle. You just have a guy there that seems like he doesn't give a fuck about football, considering that in the offseason they told him he needed to get stronger and put on weight, and he lost 20 pounds. You can't get stronger and lose 20 pounds. It doesn't happen. It's just one of those things where we got a lot of guys that seem like they don't really want to be in the building or play football. And we cut some guys. There was some stuff, there was some talk about, apparently one of the defensive play guys that left said that the solutions are leaving and the problems are still there. We were one of the worst defenses in the league in yards. You guys let Derrick Henry run through the A gap 5 times that game for 20 plus yards. The problems are leaving. We're just keeping some problems too. That's really all I've got on this one. I'm going to look more into some defensive coordinator candidates going forward. But right now, not much to really talk about besides the fact that we didn't deserve that game. Hats off to the Titans for coming in, and playing, playing a good game, spoiling our season. And congrats to the Texans because they really deserved it this year, honestly, with the way they played compared to how they were projected.
Well, somebody who's not running away from that building is that lady who drove her car into the facility doors.
I saw something too, and it said that door held up better than Luke Fortner did on 4th down. So, we'll just stick with that.
Yeah, apparently some lady just drove her car straight through the glass doors of the practice facility. I get it. You're mad at your team. You're like, oh, we had playoffs in our hand, and then you drive your car through the practice facility.
I mean, it was the logical thing to do.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean, if I was in Indianapolis, I'm driving my car through the practice doors. I'm just saying.
All right, Blake.
I mean, it was never the Jags, if I'm being honest. So it was nice to. It was nice to spoil y'all season. It was one of those games where it was just like Titans had nothing to lose, nothing to gain. I mean, honestly, it was smarter for the Titans to lose, but I wanted to win that game. I'm glad we did. I thought Jags would have won that game just because you're just a better team. I mean, Titans were missing like 9 starters. I mean, it was just practice squad dudes and Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, man, it's tough, but yeah, he had a great game to end his career in Tennessee. It's sad. I mean, I don't know.
Like a certain thing that he's gone. I mean, are they like? Is that like a?
You don't thank the cleaning and kitchen staff if you're staying, Jeff. He's gone.
He's done. He's done.
Honestly, probably should just retire at this point. But
that's what I'm hoping for. I hope he retires, kind of like Lawan. Like Lawan's only wore a Titans uniform. And I hope Derrick Henry's the same. I really want to see him get that 10,000 yards, and I also want to see him get a ring. But, I mean, if that's not going to happen in Tennessee, then, I mean, I'd rather him not have it.
I want to see him. I want to see him go to a different team for one season, only because I'll be able to snag an Oilers jersey of his for like $50, like one of those nice stitched ones. That's the only reason I want him to go somewhere else for at least part of a season.
If I'm being honest with you, I want him to go to Dallas. Eddie George. Yeah. He lives in Dallas, so that would make sense. But I mean, I can talk about Henry all day. But this game, yeah, I mean, it was vintage Henry. He lit it up. One thing I was saying a few podcasts ago, man, like Titans really need to have fullbacks, and we kept using fullback a lot. We used Chig and Kevin Rader to play fullback, and Derrick Henry went for like 150 something yards or whatever, second in the NFL rushing this year. People said he's washed up. Dude's led the AFC in rushing. But it doesn't even matter now because we're gonna have a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach. So like I don't even want to get into that. It was just really just kind of a moot point at this point. I don't know who's gonna come back. I think everyone's gonna be gone. So like screw this entire team. So honestly, I think everyone's gonna be gone. I think you're gonna build around Jeff Simmons. I think you're gonna build around Will Levis, maybe, and then build around Ryan Stonehouse. Because no matter which head coach comes in here, those are the 3 dudes.
I would say Skoronski too.
Skoronski, yeah. Skoronski. Yeah. I was listening to Rand Carthon's very long presser today. I literally stayed in my car to get gas for a while until he finished because I didn't want to miss any of it. And he was even saying that like he brought up Skoronski like 4 times. I don't think he brought up a single other player besides Derrick Henry and Will Levis, and it was Skoronski. Like, he was all about Skoronski, and he was saying that he might play left tackle next year, which is like, duh, All-American left tackle. But it seemed like there was a lot of risk between him and Vrabel, and I think Skoronski might have been one because he kept bringing Skoronski up like unorganically. So it's like he really wanted to bring that up. But it'd be nice to see him at left tackle. I think he was definitely teasing that in case we miss out on Fashanu or Joel. So I don't know. It's gonna be an entirely new team, and I'm glad to see Tennessee get one last victory with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. It really brought me back to like 2019. It was really cool to watch as a fan and just to beat the Jags like the good old days.
Yeah, it was definitely an unexpected outcome. What was the halftime score?
I don't remember it. I feel like that's a year ago.
It was pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it was. I thought it was a little more manageable at halftime, but then it got out of hand right after.
And then you guys, caught back up because it was 28-20, right? What was the score?
Yeah, that was 28-20. Yeah.
I thought it was like.
Which I know this isn't going to happen, but Blake, how would you feel if we actually did bring in Vrabes as our defensive coordinator?
I actually I would like as a fan of Vrabel, like I've liked Vrabel for 6 years, and I even liked him in New England as a player, which is weird because I hate New England so much. I love his linebacker to catch touchdowns. Um, but if he was your defensive coordinator, I would hate it as a Vrabel fan and Titans fan, but I would not mind honestly because I don't think he's a good defensive minded coach. I think he's a good head coach. I think he can rally dudes up, but X's and O's, that's not his strong suit. He's good at hyping dudes up and like testing their toughness, but I mean, when he was like his only year ever as defensive coordinator, he was with the Houston Texans. They had the 32nd ranked defense. And then his first year, he had some input. No, I'm sorry, it was his third year he had input after Dean Pease left. And that defense was horrible. That was the year the offense was clicking and firing on all cylinders. And Vrabel was really holding the team back. Then he gave it to Bowen, and Bowen had some learning curves, and Bowen finally got in a groove. So I think the defense is good only because of Shane Bowen. Ever since Vrabel kind of stepped away, hands off Bowen, the defense has gotten better, and that's with no corners.
No.
So if he is your defensive coordinator, I'll be happy just because it'll be a lot easier to score on you guys, and Titans might actually score 30.
How would you feel if Derrick Henry went to Minnesota?
I would be fine with Minnesota. I actually kind of like the Vikings, so I think that'd be kind of cool. I don't want to see him go anywhere besides Tennessee and Canton, but
yeah,
Minnesota, I wouldn't hate it. I would hate it if he went to any of the AFC South teams, and I would hate it if he went to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Anywhere else, like, I don't care.
I didn't even think
Cincinnati
about
would
that.
suck too. Cincinnati.
Derrick Henry to Baltimore would be kind of crazy.
That's dangerous. And him and Lamar have always kind of wanted to play together. Because like last year when Lamar was on the block, Derrick Henry was like, hey man, Nashville's got no state tax. Like,
yeah.
Just saying. Kind of need a quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those two would love playing each other. Kind of like how DeAndre and Derek always want to play with each other, and that happened this year. I think Henry's going to go somewhere where they're going to pay him. It'll make sense, and he gets to play with people he wants to play with.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage in your career, that's kind of what it's all about, especially if you're considered aging and washed by some, even though you're still performing at a high level.
I don't think he'll pull like a Julio. I don't think he's going to go like be a football hoe or like a Frank Gore and just be on a different team every year. I don't think that's Derrick Henry. I think he wants to. I think he cares about his legacy a lot. And I think that's why I can see him retiring a Titan if he doesn't go somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's a good 50-50 shot that he stays in Tennessee.
I think there's more of a shot now.
Yeah.
That Vrabel's gone.
Do you want a more offensive-minded head coach?
100%. I literally don't want a defensive-minded head coach. I think the only exception would be Mike Tomlin. I think he's the only exception because I think he's Mike Vrabel without the like calling out players in press conferences. Yeah. He's more of a locker room guy. He's won a ring. I mean, dude, everyone's said it a million times. I mean, he's never had a losing season, and I mean, you can't ignore that. I mean, the dude's had nothing for quarterback for the last several years, and still always managed to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I want a young offensive coordinator. I want like a Ben Johnson, Brian Callahan,
Byron Leftwich.
I don't want Byron Leftwich. I would have a few years ago.
One name that Nashville media has been attaching to the vacancy is Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick.
I don't want him.
He's had 6 years in San Francisco with Rand Carthon.
Yeah.
They're very familiar with each other, so that it's definitely a possibility.
I think he's the most likely.
Yeah. Well, could be interesting. I mean, it was his first year as an OC, so it'd be kind of another Mike Vrabel situation, but with an expertise on the other side of the ball. Did you guys see that? Did you watch the Texans-Colts game?
For me, no.
Okay. There was a graphic on that was like the 2013 Washington Commanders or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed all the coaches that were on that staff. Sean McVay was like the tight ends coach. Matt LaFleur was the QB coach. Kyle Shanahan was the OC. Bobby Slowick was the defensive quality control coordinator. And, oh God, I'm forgetting one person who's like a head coach somewhere.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel was the wide receiver coach.
That team still sucked.
Oh, they were awful, but it was mostly because Washington's cursed. But that tree has done pretty well. The Mike Shanahan tree in Washington has turned out pretty solid, and Bobby Slelick's the next one in line.
How'd you feel about his play calling?
It was spotty. Some games there was kind of rookie OC mistakes, and sometimes there was phenomenal game planning all the way through. It just early in the season you could see a lot of the cracks, and later in the season you could see them kind of fixing things as it went along. Mm-hmm. But I would imagine a lot of that was due to the offensive line issues in the beginning, and we finally got the same 5 guys to play from like week 13 on. That kind of solidified things. But okay. Any more Jags Titans comments? Jeff?
Yeah, I called the Titans winning.
You did.
Appreciate it. Probably the only one that did.
20-17.
I know I said that I didn't really see the Titans actually winning the game, but they followed the script that they were supposed to in order to do it. So,
yep,
Derrick Henry's the way, man.
Yeah, those are one of those games that Tennessee tends to win, though. They always win those like spoiler games, and I should have picked them going with my gut, but yeah, I'm glad.
Knows how it feels.
Yeah.
They did it to the Colts a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like a Colts fan have to live through other teams because theirs can't do anything. So, put up the banner. Titans beat Jacksonville to keep them out of the playoffs. Hang that banner.
I'm down for it.
I predicted the Jags score would be 31-0 Jacksonville.
Jesus.
Cody Stutes said 27-3 Jacksonville. Isaiah said 34-10. Needless to say, we were a little off. Just a touch.
2017, didn't I?
Yeah. We're at the halfway point of the episode, folks. 35 like goal on this episode. We're at 418 subscribers. Like to get that to 420, maybe 500 or 1,000 in the near future. You can help us accomplish that. Hit the notification bell. Let's get into Colts Texans. Jeffrey?
Yeah. Minshew didn't have any turnovers.
Yeah, he also completed like 6 passes.
Yeah, well, it was 13, and it was a little more than half. Yeah, it was pretty abysmal, especially in that first half. He wasn't good. He wasn't accurate, and it didn't help that. I said at the beginning of the season, I feel like the Mo Alley Cox train has more than ran its course, and he came out with good old hammer hands, and he had a pretty good pass right to him and just smacked it down to the turf. Josh Downs had pretty good catch in there. Pittman, it's just, I think only 5 receivers caught passes.
Yeah,
it was just rough. But you don't want Minshew passing that much. And if you looked at the stat sheet and Jonathan Taylor 30 carries, 188 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, the Colts won that game. That's kind of their bread and butter, and they were just, and it was kind of, they went run and then pass and then drive stalled out. I think at one point they were like 0 for 9 on third down.
0 for 11.
They were 0 for 11. I thought they got one on the 10th try or something.
They got one on try number 12.
Yeah. I stand corrected. 0 for 11. It was pretty abysmal. Defensively, they let up that huge play on the Texans' first drive, and I thought, oh shit, here we go. And right after that, Houston went up. I think it was 14-3, and it was just. But I thought they did a great job in the second half, kind of settling down. Held them to 9 points in the second half, so the defense kind of calmed down. But it just, people want to talk about that last play, and I'll kind of get into it. But when you go 0 for 11 on third down, there's no way it should even be close at any point in the game. It's kind of just a testament to how much, I guess, the defense wanted it. Yeah, they let up some big plays. Yeah, I mean, it was really infuriating watching like their third wide receiver have a career day for almost 200 yards, and almost every play he's just wide open. I know they had, I think Gus Bradley called like 2 blitzes the entire game. And one worked really, really well where they got Stroud knocked back for 10 yards and 2nd and 20. And the next play, they bring 3 and they allow like a 16-yard pass to Schultz. It's just, can one time Gus Bradley put the fucking foot to the pedal to the to the floor? It's just, and then the next, like, they picked up that first down and then it was 1st and 20 and they let him get that too. It was just this lax coverage BS. Just it irritates the shit out of me. I got into an argument online. It's like, oh, most defenses run a Tampa 2, whatever. It's pretty standard. Like, yeah, but coordinators also change it and adjust it. Like these, Juju Brents and Jalen Jones, they're very physical receivers, or corners, and you have them playing the zone shit that they're not the fastest. I mean, I think they ran a 4.53, 4.57, so they're not slow, but they're not like, those 4.3, 4.4 guys are going to blow past them. Like, that's just not their style of play. So it's I would much rather than bring 5 or 6 on a rush and someone be open than them bring 3 or 4 and someone still be open. I hate Gus Bradley's defense, and he doesn't adjust it. It's a CJ Stroud who has no one to throw to. It was frustrating.
Except for Nico Collins.
All you had to do was double cover him. Who are you going to rely on? What's his name? Menchie?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, the rest of everybody else was hurt. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, all they had was Nico, and he had 9 catches for almost 200 yards.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating to watch.
You told me that wasn't Jalen Ramsey and Juju Boye out there in coverage. You can do whatever you want when you got them.
And even like CJ Stroud, at some he was like 10 of 12 to start the game, and he finished. I'll let you get into all the good stuff for the Texans, but they just let him sit back there most of the game, and it was frustrating. But I mean, you fast forward to that last play of the game. The play call worked. Like, the play that Steichen called up, it worked. But given that Minshew was terrible most of the game, that Goodson came into this game with 6 receptions, like, I don't understand. Even if Jonathan Taylor was hurt, put him out there, run Downs or somebody on that flat route. Yeah, it was not a great pass, but it's like if you have Pittman or Downs or even Zach Moss running that, they probably catch that ball.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with the play so much because it did work. He was open. He had Green in front of him. It was a first down. But it was the personnel that I did not understand. I was screaming at the TV, the bar I was at, why is Jonathan Taylor on the sideline? You just paid him $14 million a year. This is what he's for.
Yep.
But, it is what it is. Like I said, the play worked. It just was badly executed. There's some people talking about, the Texans were offsides. It doesn't matter. Like, even that one play, there's no telling if they would have actually gotten a touchdown on any of the ensuing plays. And they were, like I said, pretty abysmal offensively most of the game, aside from that, huge Jonathan Taylor third quarter where he rushed for like 120 yards or something stupid in the quarter. But for the most part, they were pretty inept on offense. So, and people blaming Matt Gay it was a 57-yarder. The percentage of make on that is not great.
Yeah.
So, I appreciated the fight in the team. Like I said, they had put up 6 points. I think it was 6 at halftime. They could have folded. Things were not going their way, but they came out and they went strong in the third. So,
yep.
Overall, I mean, this was a much better team. We were not supposed to be playing in this spot. So, it was a much better season than I anticipated.
I'll second that emotion. Yeah. From the Texans' perspective, CJ Stroud was 26 attempts, 20 completions, 76% completion percentage, 264, and then 2 touchdowns, no picks, sacked 1 time, if I remember correctly. Yeah, twice.
It was Harrison and Buckner got in there.
Yeah, twice. Devin Singletary could not get much going on the ground at all. 24 attempts, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 9 targets, 9 receptions, 195 yards, and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz, the only other reliable pass catcher on the field, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 42 yards. And Schultz was the person who made the play on the second down and 20, where the defense did its job and made CJ check down to a short underneath route. And it was like, if they would have made the initial tackle, we're talking about a 3rd and 15.
I think it was Baker that whiffed on that. It was either Baker or Brown that whiffed on that tackle.
It was Baker. Yeah.
Oh, infuriating.
And then, so he breaks out of that tackle, and then he makes Zaire Franklin miss, and somebody else tackles him 3 yards away from the first down marker. Phenomenal play. I don't necessarily think that's a black mark against the scheme, maybe a black mark against individual players. I would say that this Colts game was more indicative of certain players not playing the technique or position the way that Gus Bradley wanted. The 75-yard touchdown is because a safety bit on an inside route by Schultz. And instead of being the help over top, which Juju Brents lets him inside because he knows he's got help over top inside, and then the safety's nowhere to be found. Nico Collins is wide open. There were a couple plays like that. And both of those, I believe, were against Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas was supposed to be the safety dropping back. I could be wrong. And then on the second touchdown to Andrew Beck in the end zone, Rodney Thomas,
he bit hard. Like both players
hard on the flat and let Andrew Beck wide open in the back of the end zone. And that got the 14 points the Texans had in the first half. I wouldn't necessarily sit here and say that's scheme issues so much as assignment issues. Beyond that,
the lack of pressure.
Well, yeah. But beyond that, I was nervous the entire game. Like, I don't think I've been this nervous during a Texans game since the Kansas City playoff debacle where we were up 24-0 and then blew the lead. I was that nervous. That the fourth down play, I was like, oh crap, he's wide open. Holy shit, he dropped the ball. Holy shit, he dropped the ball. We won the division.
They didn't know that at the time.
Won the game. And yeah, it was a nuts performance from CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, who were greatly hindered by the fact that there was minimal around them to kind of pull attention off of them. And Nico going 9 targets, 9 receptions is amazing. Just phenomenal job by Nico Collins. A through and through breakout season for him, who has more catches and yards this season than both of his prior seasons combined. And touchdowns. So Nico Collins definitely playing himself into some big money. But now we're looking at the playoffs since the Jags lost. And like Jeff said, this is not where I was expecting to be. I was not expecting to actually have meaningful football in Week 18. And I was not expecting to be the AFC South champion and the number 4 seed in the playoffs playing a Joe Flacco-led Browns team in Houston. Did not expect any of that to happen. I will take it. I will gladly take it, but not expect it. What a season. Holy shit. God bless America. I mean, with all the turmoil in Tennessee and Jacksonville fumbling the bag a little bit, it was just had to be a perfect storm for the Texans to get that crown, and they got it done. The next several years in this division are going to be very interesting because the Colts did that well with a backup quarterback. The Jaguars did that well with arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL. The Titans did that well with inarguably, inarguably the
Yeah.
worst offensive line in NFL.
with the practice squad running out
Yeah,
on the field.
literally like scrubs.
Yeah, we have an argument. They own the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing offensive line is just god awful.
So I mean, honestly, we fix a couple holes in this division, and all of a sudden, everybody in this division is fighting for a playoff spot, and it's going to be one hell of a ride over the next 5 to 10 years, assuming the pieces that are there stay. But good golly, what a game! Anybody got any Texans Colts comments?
I didn't watch the game, but I will say I just kind of want to piggyback off what you said. Like I was just kind of reflecting earlier today, knowing we do the podcast tonight, and I was just like, man, I remember the beginning of the year. We were at one point we were saying like predictions for the year. I think it was pretty unanimous. Everyone thought Houston was going to be the worst.
Whoa.
No, I said Titans last.
I said they were going to be second place.
Did you say second place?
I said Jags. I said Jags, Texans, Colts, Titans.
Man, I had Houston last for sure.
So
because we were CJ Stroud. I remember we were all hating on CJ Stroud.
Again, these accusations. I've been a CJ Stroud fan since day one.
I was hating.
Yeah, a lot of us did not want CJ Stroud. I don't think Jeff did either. Just because Ohio State, man, they're just not it.
I was happy to not have Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's weird to see how you guys have come up because, man, having 2 picks in the top 3 was just such a game changer for you guys.
Not to mention there's a chance that they're both of their picks are going to end up as offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
I feel like we can all pretty much agree that D'Amico Ryan should also probably get coach of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I can't. I would say Steichen, but I mean, because he also had a great turnaround. But getting your team to the playoffs with
D'Amico,
how abysmal it was. Yeah, I feel like it's D'Amico.
Yeah. I mean, most people have the Texans as the bottom of the league. I was listening to the Nashville radio stations around here, and they're talking about how the team that most people had in the bottom is on top. Most people didn't see the Titans winning only 6 games. So, I'm pretty sure most of our predictions had Jacksonville at the top of the division and either the Colts or the Titans at the bottom. I know I had the Colts at the bottom.
The Titans at the bottom.
I think it was Jags, Texans, Titans, Colts was my prediction. So I think we were actually all wrong, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that was fun. I kind of figured at least one of us would be.
I was the closest though, so no.
Yeah. I mean, true, technically true, but regardless, it's been one hell of a season, boys. It's been one hell of a season for the viewers. I mean, God bless America. We've been crushing it. Week in, week out. Been pretty consistently fun games to watch and fun games to cover and talk with you guys. So we've only got a few more weeks left. We'll keep going until the Super Bowl, but it's going to go by pretty quick, is I guess what I should say. But any more Colts Texans comments? Negative? Isaiah? No? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, boys, I want to thank you for a job well done on the regular season 2023-2024. Thank you for your time all year long. Yep, pick 'em champ. Circle down here at the bottom.
Silver.
Yep. Blake with a comeback story, though, honestly, because he was didn't even pay attention for
he was way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed like 4 of the last 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Forgetting.
Doesn't help. But go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. Trying to get 35 likes on this episode. Like to get to 500 subscribers, 420 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 1,000,000 subscribers. Any of these just more. Just give us more. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Most of all, folks, be good people.
Tighten up.
Go Jags.
Tighten up.
We are Texas.